What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Phil Sarpong. I am so excited for this video. This video is a long time coming. I got a lot of hidden gems in this video, so please watch it all the way through. I also provided some links down below to help you guys out. For a lot of clinical psychology schools, application process has already started. And what's going to be even crazier is that within the next couple months, schools are going to be letting their potential candidates know that they want to interview them, okay? And so this video is basically the short version to give you the main focuses of what you should go through in your interview process to prepare you for an interview and during your interview, okay? If you've already gotten an interview, congratulations. That really is like 80% of the way there. And if you haven't, don't worry, okay? Most people anyways right now are probably just going through the application process. For me, I went through the application process from September to October, and then I didn't hear back from any of the schools until the following year. Mostly it was anywhere from December to January, and then I had my interviews in February, okay? This is specifically for clinical psychology. So I know not all the schools run on that timeline, but you can guarantee most likely most people are getting their applications ready. And if you've already sent out your applications, there may be some people that have already gotten interviews. So here's what I'm gonna do, guys. I'm gonna save the best tip for last. This is ultimately the best tip that I've ever gotten from other students. I've talked to other professors, other faculty members. It's the number one tip that I use in each and every one of my interviews. It worked like a gem, okay? So the first 7, I'm gonna give it to you in no particular order, but the last one, that's why you should stay till the end of this video. The last one is the most important tip, okay? But anyways, let's get it started. Tip number 1, dress to impress. Now, I know this is pretty obvious, but honestly, seriously, dress to impress. Buy yourself that suit. Get that suit tailored. If you have a great dress or a great formal outfit, get that, all right? Dress to impress, look sharp, look good, get it tailored, go to the dry cleaners, do whatever you gotta do. Make sure it is crisp. You want to look your best. First impressions are everything, and especially in clinical psychology. You got a bunch of psychologists that are in the room that are interviewing you. Okay, you better guarantee that they are trying to notice every single thing about you, from the way that you dress and from the way that you look. So you want to be dressed to impress. That is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is that you should know the school that you're applying to. Now, believe it or not, a lot of people, they just throw out their applications. They don't really care. They don't really research the school or research the professors. I am telling you, you should do your research on the faculty members. All you got to do is Google it up. Google up the school, Google up the faculty members. For me, when I Googled up the faculty members, I went into what they did for their dissertations, where they went to school. I mean, I did some serious stalking, basically, because I wanted to find out about these faculty members. When I met them the first time, I wanted to have something to talk about with them. And so I researched what school they went to. I researched what they did their dissertation on. I researched what they had in their publications. I researched what they were currently researching. I researched everything that I could about them on the internet, because I knew that I wanted to make those connections with them. So not just know the school and what they are, their mission statement, which again, all of this stuff is online. Every school usually has their mission statement online. Every school usually says what they're really excited about, but don't just read the front page. Really go into the website. Maybe you can email other people. Obviously, ask students that are already there if you have those connections. But definitely, number 1, I think just know the faculty members, because if you see a faculty member and you've already read about their publication, or if you've already read about their research, that is something that you're going to be able to easily talk about with them, not only in the interview, but just out and about. Okay, so know your school, tip number 2. All right, guys, we got tip number 3, arrive early. Okay, so this, again, This may seem pretty straightforward, but it is very, very important. You want to arrive early. Don't arrive late. Don't even arrive right on time, okay? The reason that you should arrive early is that most interview situations are set up where they start early in the morning. They usually have some breakfast, maybe some bagels, donuts, and coffee. It's a little bit of a social 30 minutes while everyone's coming in. But that is valuable time for you to make connections with the faculty members, valuable time for you to kind of just get settled in, and valuable time for you to just have conversations with people. I knew a lot of people when I was in my interview. There were a lot of people that showed up late and they missed out on some of the conversations that they could have had with those faculty members that I was having because I arrived early. Again, this is all about the first impression. Not only are you dressed to impress, but you are also early on time and you're showing that this is a priority for you. All right. Tip number 4 is one of the most important tips. Again, these aren't number 1 through 7 isn't in any particular order, but this tip I really, really think is important. Tip number 4 is talk to everybody. Okay. Don't just talk to the faculty members. Don't just talk to people that are sitting in your table that are also there for the interview. Talk to the janitor. All right. Talk to the person holding the door. Talk to the secretary. Talk to anyone in that school, on that campus. Say hi, smile, because you don't know who's watching. And I guarantee it, people are watching. Whether you know it or you don't, people are watching. So treat everybody like, I mean, normally, even outside of life, even outside of this interview, you should treat everybody equally and nice and, but especially in this interview, treat everybody with a smile, all right? I'm not saying that you gotta be over the top. I'm not saying that you gotta be fake, but you definitely wanna show that you are interested in people. I mean, your profession is, in clinical psychology, is for people. So you want to make a good impression with everyone that you come in contact with, all right? Again, I'll say it again, talk to the teachers, talk to the faculty, talk to the janitors, talk to everyone that's interviewing with you as well, all right? You can be social with the people that you are also technically competing with for a spot. That's actually a really good thing, all right? Make connections, make friends with people, ask them about their lives. I think that's really important. And the more that you learn about people, trust me, the more that you'll be like, okay, I can do this, like I got this. Trust me, you got it, all right? Next tip, another special tip is be yourself. Now, this goes without saying, guys, but the interview process is a stressful process. I remember how stressed I was. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it's just an interview, okay? And even if it's your only interview, even if it's like your 5th interview, just treat it like an interview and be yourself. Be authentic, be genuine, be who you are. It's gonna be really easy for people to sift out the fake people, all right? So you wanna be yourself. Talk about who you are in terms of your passions. Don't try and brag. You can brag in a good way, but talk about your passions. Are you passionate about your family? Are you passionate about your studies? Are you passionate about the research you've done? Talk about your passions. Let people figure out who you are by you talking about your passions. And that will draw out the authentic part of who you actually are, okay? Tip number 6, we're almost there, guys. Tip number 6 is prepare for questions with different people. Now, again, this is pretty standard stuff, For your interview, the people are going to be asking you questions. You want to get a general outline of the questions that they might ask you. You might be able to practice with your roommate, practice with your family member, practice with yourself in front of the mirror. Get familiar with talking about those questions and answering those questions, but not in such a sliced, detailed, word by word way. You know what I mean? Because chances are the questions that you're preparing for, they may not even ask you, so you might just be wasting your time. But you still want to prepare, but don't feel like you got to be scripted. In fact, don't be scripted. Still prepare, have what you want to say, have a few things that you want to say. If they ask you, tell me about yourself. Have a few things that you want to say. And also, I think what's important, a lot of people, when they get nervous, they just keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. Time yourself, okay? You can put yourself in their position and try and figure out and think of questions that they might ask you. And so this is really important because this is also a good self-awareness thing for you. If you know that your GRE wasn't that great, okay, well, what questions might they ask you about that? Because they're gonna see everything in your application. They basically see everything about you that they need to know on paper. And so whatever's on paper, whether it's in your personal statement or whether it's in the GRE, those are all fair game. They can ask you any question that they think of with that. Tip number 7. This is one of my favorite ones because I feel like this always happens. Don't get shook when other people that are interviewing, other students that are there, other people that are applying, don't get shook when they say things to throw you off. And here's what I mean by that. There are some people that I interviewed with who I don't think they were trying to purposely do this, but it's easy to get into that interview process and people are just nervous. I think that's probably the best thing for me was you should just become an observer. Like, it's easy to be in your own head, but when you start observing other people, you start to realize, okay, I'm not the only one that's nervous here, because there's gonna be people that are talking about stuff that doesn't even make any sense because they're nervous. There are gonna be people that are so shy and so awkward that they don't know what to talk about. Like, you just gotta stay in your own zone and in your own lane. And so here's what I mean by don't get shook when other people say things to throw you off. There were people in my interview that were talking about their accomplishments. They were talking about, oh yeah, I did research with this person and this person and this person, and I got 4 degrees. There was literally one person in my interviews that kept saying time and time again, I got 4 degrees, I got 4 degrees. Or people that were like, yeah, this is my 5th interview, this is my 6th interview. And listen, I mean, that's fine. I'm not saying they're trying to brag or anything like that, but it's easy to hear that and be like, oh man, this is my first interview. Like, oh man, I didn't really have a good GRE score. And then you start thinking about all the things in your application that they could, possibly throw you out for. And so it's easy to get insecure when other people start talking, but seriously, don't get in your head. I know it's easier said than done, but this will happen. You will get shook by someone else's resume, and you're gonna be like, dang, you should already be a doctor. Like, what are you doing here? and that's perfectly okay. There's a reason why you're there. There's a reason why they picked you. They saw something in your application. Trust me, when these faculty members go through these applications, they are incredibly meticulous, okay? They're not just picking random people. If you've been chosen for an interview, you have been chosen for a purpose, all right? You are there for a reason. And so the fact that you've already been picked, own it, all right? Like, gravitate towards it, embrace it, own it, because you deserve to be there just as anybody else deserves to be there, all right? That's all I gotta say about that. All right, whew, here we go, guys. It's kind of a longer video than normal, but my number one tip, guys, and this is something that I've done in every interview. I've done this one thing, and I've asked other faculty members and other students if they've done this, and I've asked the people that have been successful with their interviews if they've done this, and this has been a common theme that I've seen from every person that has got accepted to some school or some program or some job, is they come with questions. Here's the thing. That school that you apply to isn't just interviewing you. You should also be interviewing them, all right? This is the psychology of it all, okay? Because here's the thing. Just as much as they're trying to figure out if it's a good fit for them to accept you, you should also be trying to figure out if it's a good fit for you to accept them. Because what if you do get 2 schools that accept you? What if you get 3 schools that accept you? You should be interviewing them as well. And here's what I mean by that. When they say, what questions do you guys have, whether it's in your interview or in the group process, guess what? You should have questions lined up And guys, the reason that I'm so fired up about this is because I've talked to faculty members about this. They love it when people that are interviewing ask them questions, and not just the basic questions of like, what do you do your research in? I'm talking like questions about the school, the structure. In fact, to help you guys out, this is why I'm so passionate about this. I have created, and this is what actually helped me in my interview process. I created 50 questions of not what they were going to ask me, but what I was going to ask them. And these 50 questions, I'm telling you guys, really sealed the deal. Because for them, they were like, oh man, this guy, first of all, has done his research. I mean, he's serious about it. And it's not like I, was reading them off the paper. I memorized some of them. I went through them. So I already had them packed, right? I was like, here's a question. Here's a question. Here's a question. Here's a question. You ask questions until you run out of time. I mean, that's basically what it is, because first of all, you need to know if they're serious and they know what they're talking about, and they need to know like, okay, this person's asking me some, and honestly, that is what's going to separate you from everybody else, because there's a lot of people that don't think of questions, or they get nervous, or maybe they have one basic question, and it's like, okay, well, if that's all the questions you have, I guess this interview is over, right? Like, no, like you need to come with really good thought out questions. And this sheet, I'll provide the link down below, is just to get your mind thinking, all right? Just to get those wires turning about what you can ask these professors, what you can ask these faculty members, because that's what they're there for. They're there to answer your questions. They should also be selling you their program to you. That is an indicator of a really good school. So guys, I hope these 8 tips help to ease your nerves, help to prepare you. Again, dress formally, know the school that you're applying to, arrive early, talk to everybody, be yourself, prepare for questions with different people. Don't get shook when there's that one person that has all these accolades and you start getting insecure about your resume. Don't worry about that. You're there for a reason. And make sure to have some really good questions to ask those people that are interviewing you, okay? Show them that you know what you're talking about and that you belong there, all right? Have that confidence in yourself. I belong here, all right? If you guys need any more tips or any more advice, feel free to comment down below. You can reach out to me. But again, this page or this channel is dedicated to all things clinical psychology. I hope you guys can take advantage of the link that I put down below. Again, that has all of these questions, all these 50 questions for free. I'm just giving it out for free that you guys can take a look at. And again, if you guys have anything else that you want to let me know about your interview process, or any other future videos that you think I should do, just let me know, hit me up. All right, guys, take care.